Hello Viking friends around the world. Today is the 14th of February, St. Valentine's Day, and I'm sure many of you might be taking the opportunity today to show your affections for loved ones with a card, perhaps some flowers or even a little gift. St. Valentine's Day has been associated with love and romance for hundreds of years, but in fact its origins can be traced all the way back to the Roman era. There are a few different stories to explain who St. Valentine's was, and I'll share this one with you today as it is one of the most popular. Legend has it that St. Valentine was a Roman priest living in the 3rd century. The emperor at the time, Claudius II, wanted to strengthen his army, and he decided that single men made better fighters. So he banned his soldiers from getting married. St. Valentine was unhappy with this rule, and he disobeyed Claudius and began arranging marriages in secret. But soon he got caught and was thrown into jail, where he fell in love with the jailer's daughter. The story goes that St. Valentine was sentenced to death on February 14th, and as he was led away to his fate, he left behind a love letter to the jailer's daughter, signed simply "From your Valentine." Whether this story is true or not, no one really knows, but today we'd like to share with you some real love stories, as well as taking a look at the romantic destinations and experiences that you can enjoy when you travel with Viking. So let's first head to Greece to hear the tale of star-crossed lovers Mimikos and Mary, whose storybook romance took an unexpected turn in the shadow of the majestic Acropolis.
Strolling through the magnificent Acropolis, I learned of the modern-day love story of Mary and Mimikos, a romantic tragedy that became a movie chronicling the dramatic events of 1893.
Mary Weber was a German governess at the palace of King George I of Greece.
She met an army surgeon,
Michael Mimikos.
They met somehow during a Sunday promenade and they fell in love.
It must have been a love at first sight.
The two lovers met every day on the Acropolis of Athens.
This was their standard rendezvous.
It's one of those loves that you all know, like Julia and Romeo.
They did things discreetly because, it wasn't very proper for a young girl to be having an affair. They used to communicate with letters. She would leave it at the military hospital, which was just next to the Acropolis Museum, so that he would receive it.
Sending letters one to the other, forever, promising things, waiting for them to get married, waiting for them to live the rest of their life.
The love affair went on for 7 months, and they started making plans to see if they could be married, if they would have enough money to make it through.
One day, Mimikos did not come, and the following day, he did not show up.
Michael Mimikos is missing those morning rendezvous every single day for 3 running days.
He disappears. Mary sends one letter, the second letter, the third letter, no response.
And this happened for 8 running days.
Finally, she writes a brief note.
She's absolutely desperate. She wants to meet him, and now it's the 4th letter coming saying,
"If you don't come, I kill myself." And she meant it.
The next morning, she's coming up with great hope. She started picking up and collecting flowers from all around the rocky hill.
And in that white gown in which she was dressed, she went all the way up.
All the way up to the very top of the Parthenon.
And she stood there, and the guard, who was an eyewitness, said that she looked like a statue, a living statue in that dress that was blown by the air.
And when she knew that he was not coming, she just leapt.
Some tourists that happened to be nearby helped her to transfer her body to the nearby hospital. This hospital at the foot of the Acropolis, where Mimikos was a staff member.
Her love arrived, Michael, only to find out all the letters that had piled up there. And he had not read them, he had not received them, only because he was sick all these days. He was absent for 8 days in a row.
He was guided to the room. There he found his Mary holding violets, dressed as a bride. That was the custom in Greece, still is, when unmarried people die.
That moment, he said, Do not worry. I'll follow you soon.
The next thing we know is that his family took him to their house. His brother decided to stay with him so that he wouldn't commit suicide, but at some point in the night,
He took his gun and he shot himself.
straight into the heart.
That next day, the funerals took place. There were separate burials, but on that same night of the funerals, a group of doctors, friends actually, they entered the cemetery and moved the body of Mimikos into Mary's grave.
Their names are engraved on the grave stone and the grave marker, and it is a very sweet, modest place.
Mimikos and Mary were as pure as angels, and like angels, they flew to heaven.
I hope you too will do what I did and explore the Acropolis, listening closely for the other stories these stones can tell.
And now let's visit Verona, one of northern Italy's most charming cities, and the setting for what many consider to be the greatest love story of all time, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
Shakespeare loved Italy's Verona. So much so, he set several of his plays here. And after spending a few days exploring the city myself, it's easy to understand why. Piazza Bra is the place to begin your exploration, the Italian way, with an espresso, of course. Remnants of empires past line the edges of this welcoming square. None more impressive than the Roman arena. Originally built beyond the city walls in the 1st century, it once comfortably held as many as 30,000 people. Nearby is Casa di Giulietta, where some say the tragic real-life story that inspired Romeo and Juliet unfolded. You'll find tranquility at Giardino Giusti, a sanctuary created from the rubble of a 16th century wool dyeing factory, where the roar of boiling cauldrons long ago gave way to birds and gentle breezes. Another powerful landmark is the imposing Castle Vecchio. Built by the Scaliger dynasty in 1354, this stronghold was captured by many armies and was actually once Napoleon's home. These are but a few of the treasures that make Verona my new favorite Italian city.
For many, Valentine's Day means receiving a gift of chocolate from a loved one. So let's now head to Perugia in Italy to learn how to make Baci, Italy's original chocolate kiss.
Baci is perhaps Italy's most famous kiss. Chocolate kiss, that is. Baci is a tasty piece of heaven, and each one comes wrapped in a love note. The name means kisses in Italian, and this iconic little sweet was born on Valentine's Day 1922, when the owners concocted this gem from leftover chopped hazelnuts and chocolate. Baci's recipe and logo have remained unchanged ever since.
Here in the middle of the Umbrian countryside is a little piece of heaven, and Massimiliano is going to show us how to make the original kiss, chocolate kiss. So after this, I can go home and make my own kisses.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
The key ingredients are simple: cream, hazelnut chocolate, ground hazelnuts, and whole hazelnuts.
The cream is boiling with a turnier and all the chocolate inside,
At once.
all inside.
Huh?
And we mix.
It's all melted.
There is a good part from now.
And how many kisses have you made in your life? No,
many thousand batch.
Okay.
Now we return this inside.
So I could add alcohol into this if I want, into the ganache.
You can prepare another type of ganache, but don't the batch.
Then it wouldn't be the original Baci. No.
No.
Okay.
At this point, the ganache is transferred into a pre-chilled pan, and we're ready to make individual bacis.
I like have all the ganache inside there.
How many kisses will we make?
With this
Yeah.
part, 20, 25.
Okay.
Now I cut this. I make many little balls. Squeeze, open, squeeze, open. Make this. Nice. It's perfect.
Okay. Small love, little kisses.
Little kissing.
Once the tray is finished, it's off to the fridge. While the baci is cooling, we move on to open the chocolate that will be used for the top coating. This is an important step, as it gives the chocolate a nicer sheen and a bit more of a snap when eating. Fun as it is to play with the chocolate, be careful not to allow it to cool too much.
How do you know it's the right temperature?
I mix the hot part with the cold, and we use the thermometer.
And it should be
31 degrees Celsius. Look at the temperature is 31 and 3.
Yeah. Did you make chocolate when you were a little boy?
Yes, I work chocolate from, I have 30 years.
Was it your mama's recipe?
Yes,
Your
the
mama.
chocolate in every part of my home.
So now these have been in the fridge for 15 minutes?
15, 20 minutes. Now we crash. 1, 2, 3, and we have a perfect ball. 1, 2, 3. Remember, your hands are hot.
So not too long.
Yes. They are the perfect baci.
I guess every baci is perfect.
Yes, every. Now, the hazelnut on the top. Well, Karine, now we finish the baci with the tempering chocolate.
So you cover it.
1. Inside, I make this. The bacio Perugina is ready. We turn on the plate.
You almost need 3 hands for this job. Okay.
Thankfully, this process is now automated, since demand for the iconic baci continues to climb, with Perugina Baci producing 2 million of these every single day for chocolate devotees.
Now, in every bacio Perugina inside there is the love note.
On the baci you buy in the shop, the note comes in a paper that's wrapped around
Yes, but
the chocolate.
in the Perugina Chocolate School we can't use paper. We can use only different type of chocolate.
Edible paper.
It's my paper, it's your paper, white chocolate.
Okay.
And we write with dark chocolate. Like this. It's my pen.
So now we write our little love message.
Perugina Baci is but one of Italy's many tasty treasures. Sampling them should definitely be on your list. And they're perfect for sharing. Just remember to distribute your kisses wisely.
On this day dedicated to love, we could not mention what many consider to be the city of love, the French capital of Paris. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of this most romantic city.
Paris, the city of light, an inspired destination that has drawn travellers from all over the world for centuries.
There are certain things you have to see and do if you have a day in Paris.
A wonderful place to start is right here at Notre Dame, where you can enjoy the impressive French Gothic cathedral and the littlest friendly locals. Just across the street on Paris's left bank is the Shakespeare & Company bookstore. The American George Whitman turned this former monastery into a literary haven that has been a favourite stop for poets, writers and book lovers for over half a century. Of course, there's also strolling the Champs-Élysées, Paris's most famous street, and just beyond, the towering Arc de Triomphe. Be sure to give yourself ample time at the Louvre, where gallery upon gallery of priceless, beautiful art is waiting. And an absolute must is coffee in the Saint-Germain district. It's been said you can't sit here for more than half an hour without someone you know passing by. This is a city to delight all your senses. And of course,
Oysters and white wine must be the perfect finish to a day in Paris.
experience magical Paris for yourself with a Viking Explore More package, before or after your cruise. You'll enjoy a guided walking tour and a comfortable centrally located hotel, complete with a Viking host in the lobby ready to assist and make recommendations during your stay. Bienvenue! Welcome to Viking's real Paris. We can't wait to share it with you. See you soon! À tout à l'heure!
One great expression of romance is of course through dance, and two very different styles that you can admire or even participate in on a few of our itineraries are the elegant Viennese waltz and the passionate Spanish flamenco. So we'll take a short look at these in conclusion for today's celebration of Valentine's Day.
The waltz was once the most scandalous dance in Europe. Its provocative moves and intoxicating atmosphere causing an uproar in the 18th century. While forbidden by the church and authorities, behind closed doors the nobility embraced the waltz and the romantically formal ambiance that accompanied it. Eventually, Emperor Joseph II opened a few balls to the public, fueling the Austrian passion for the waltz. Today, love for the waltz, even among the young, remains strong, thanks in large part to the school of Professor Elmayer, Austria's noted dance and etiquette expert.
It was started in 1919. My grandfather was an officer at the Imperial Army, a cavalry officer, and of course there was no army anymore after the First World War, and he thought how to be in a job again where he had to do with young people. That was his objective. He read a book of an officer who was in the Grande Armée of Napoleon, who founded a dancing school in Paris. And he said, that's an idea. And he was a good friend of Margraf Pallavicini here.
And this is the Pallavicini.
Palais Pallavicini here.
So it's the ground floor of an old palace.
The Pallavicinis had no horses anymore. They had motor cars in the meantime. And so he said, you can convert these stables into a dancing school.
Yeah, so these arches, these used to be the stables.
All this used to be the stables, yeah. The teachers here were all aristocrats, and the lady assistants, he took all the beauty queens of Austria. So he started very successfully with that mixture here.
Thousands of students have successfully learned the elegant waltz on the parquet floors of Tanzschule Elmayer. So I, a self-proclaimed non-dancer, volunteered a bit reluctantly to give it a whirl.
Perhaps you could show me some of the typical steps of the Viennese waltz.
The lady always starts with the left foot back, the gentleman with the right foot forward. So it's just very simple. You do left foot back, then the right foot to the side, and close. And now it's important that the left foot takes over the weight, because the right foot goes forward, forward, side, close, and left foot back. It's left foot back, side, close, and right, forward, side.
We're drawing a box.
Yeah, it's called the carré.
The carré.
Of course, Viennese waltz is also about turning. It's a back, side, close, and now the right foot forward, and forward, side, close. Then again, left, side, right foot, forward, side, left foot. That's the basic steps.
From these few steps, the grand Viennese ball culture was born, a phenomenon that forever changed the face of European dance.
The lady comes to the gentleman and she puts her right hand into his left hand, and she comes closer, puts her left hand on his upper arm, and you must come much closer. This is why it was prohibited for centuries. And lean back. So now we do it without turning
this
first.
This is going to be the complicated part.
No, this is the easy one because I'm leading.
Okay.
So your left foot goes back.
I don't usually follow men.
Let's make an exception. The left foot goes back, and back, side, close, and forward, side, and back, side, and forward, side, and back, side, close. Forward, side, close.
This is not so difficult.
No, you see?
You just have to have the right man.
How many minutes did we need? This is Viennese Waltz. There are about 450 ball festivities in Vienna every year, so you can have a ball virtually every week.
More than 300,000 participants flock to Vienna every year for events like the legendary Opera Ball, with Professor Elmayer presiding for nearly a decade.
The opening ceremonies have their traditional basis in the introduction of young people into society.
So like a debutante ball.
Yeah, this is debutante.
So before the debutantes dance, amateurs who have been trained here open the ceremony.
They do, they open the ball. They come in with the polonaise. Then they line up on the sides, and after them come in the guests of honor. The Viennese Waltz is always the last dance. After they have danced, I take the microphone and say, alles Walzer. And that
Everybody
means
waltz.
everybody waltz.
Experiencing the waltz in the hands of an expert, it was easy to understand how the dance captivated a nation and the world. Plus, I discovered a neat trick. If you're dizzy, just try a quick spin in the other direction. Sharing Professor Elmayer's passion for the waltz and Viennese ball tradition was an experience I won't soon forget. I hope you'll do what I did and try your hands and feet at this Viennese tradition. Flamenco, it's believed, was born in the 18th century. Graceful, sensual, filled with sorrow and raw emotion. Its roots lie in Andalusia. Flamenco was a way for the people to express their dreams, to wash away the weariness of everyday life. A way to escape themselves, if just for a moment. It's a passion that continues to thrive.
Intentamos que el flamenco que hacemos sea de corazón a corazón.
Our flamenco is heart to heart, eye to eye. It is truth. Flamenco is not something you do, it's a hunger you feel deep inside. A way of speaking without uttering a single word.
There are more than 80 documented forms of flamenco, each one requiring a mastery of feet and body. The art form is held in such high regard, it holds a place on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. Flamenco is pure feeling. With improvisation at its heart, each artist shares a piece of themselves. Fresh and authentic, a soul laid bare.
We reach deep inside and speak from the heart, till we exhaust our bodies. But the fire burns white hot inside, so we're always looking ahead to our next chance. This is the wall of flamenco.
El flamenco.
In Barcelona, it's easy to immerse yourself in flamenco. I hope you'll explore more of the city's cultural treasures and traditions.